Hello.
Hello,
We are here to tell you about our CHAMPS experience. I'm Nicole.
and I'm Heather.
Our first week was a little nerve-wracking, but it seemed to go well. Our first lesson helped us in planning for the following week's lessons.
Our lesson consisted of an icebreaker activity where we asked the students, if you were one piece of art, what would it be and why?
The students answered with, I like to draw, paint, etc. at Wilson, so we switched it to, what is your favorite hobby? For Harding.
Then we got into our lesson for the day, which was my school wish. We asked the students, if you had one wish for your school, what would it be? We had the students draw out their answers. When finished, Nicole and I had them place their wishes around their school that we had drawn for them, and we discussed their wishes.
The discussion we had consisted of many issues they wished could be changed. At Wilson there was the issue of lack of respect. They wished that things they had did not get damaged and destroyed. This was in relation to the lockers.
The students did not like the way the lockers looked. They wished they were brighter and that they could decorate them, but other people in the school would rip them down or draw on them.
At Harding the students wished they could have more freedom with their art. They didn't like the way the teacher taught, where everything had to be realistic and they drew most of the time.
Let's take a look at week 1.
Hi again. Did you miss us? Well, it doesn't matter anyway, because we are here to tell you about week 2.
Week 2 for Wilson, we tried to focus on what they really wanted to do, which was to have nicer looking lockers. We took in a shiny paper roll and paint and let them at it. This lesson focused on respect and trust.
For Harding we focused on other materials. We began the lesson by having the students make their own flour dough. We used the recipe that was 1 part salt to 2 parts flour. They really seemed to enjoy this.
We then had them sculpt their own project where they had to do something that was either figurative or abstract. The vast majority chose abstract. So here's week 2.
Hi again. I miss you so much when you leave.
Alright, Nicole.
Wilson week 3 consisted of trust exercises. The students really seemed to enjoy this, especially after they had Heather and I demonstrate.
We had the students create blindfolds and then led them into the exercise. The first was the gesture drawing of each other. They had to draw each other without looking at their papers.
We had the students count off by numbers and pair up that way. This seemed to cause some problems amongst the girls who did not want to work with anybody but their friends.
But in the end they all participated. I think some of the edge was taken off when they saw Nicole and I demonstrate.
We then led them into the blind coloring activity. One student was to wear the blindfold while the other had to direct them on coloring a picture. They were able to choose their partner this time.
The focus for Harding was freedom. We had the students create a freedom collage. We explained the idea of a collage and showed our examples of freedom. We then gave the students freedom of medium, paper, and size.
At the end we had everyone gather around and explain their project and why it represents freedom to them. Here's week 3. Hey. Wake up.
Nicole, no one's sleeping.
I know, I just wanted their attention.
Okay, so for week 4 at Wilson we focused on a peaceful place. This project incorporated the idea of collaborative art. This project started by the painting of students. They then created a peace sign out of their painted hands.
After their hands were washed and dried, we had the students draw a representation of a safe place on tracing paper. This was so we can overlay it on the peace sign hand painting.
At Harding we focused on freedom houses. We let them sculpt again because they expressed interest in that. They were to sculpt a place where they felt free, or a house without limits, meaning if they had the resources, what would their dream house be? So here's week 4.
A rabbi, a monk, and a priest walk into a bar.
Nicole.
What?
Off topic.
Sorry. So starting week 5, Heather and I had a dilemma. We felt as if we were not connecting with Harding. After a discussion with Ross, we realized that the students wanted freedom in art projects along with non-traditional projects.
Our mindset thus far had been traditional, so we decided to push the envelope. After a 3-hour sit-down at Starbucks, we came up with some new ideas for both Harding and Wilson.
This week we decided to explore the idea of splash painting with Wilson. We filled balloons with paint and had the students throw them at a blank piece of paper. They really seemed to enjoy this. Then we had the students gather around another blank piece of paper and snap a paintbrush full of paint at it, Jackson Pollock style.
At Harding we introduced the idea of video. The students grouped off, I ended up having the boys while Nicole had a group of girls. The students were to come up with an idea for a movie. The boys wanted to have some kind of an adventure film and the girls wanted a fun video that reflected upon their personalities. Here is week 5.
Oh my gosh, what's next?
Week 6.
I knew that, Heather. I just wanted to see if they were still paying attention.
Oh, well, for week 6 at Wilson we explored community art in a different way. We asked the students to read a newspaper article, or find one that interests them, and then paint what the story was about directly on the newspaper.
The students didn't really understand, or they did not read the article first. We had to keep encouraging them to read. When they did read, the projects turned out better and they could explain it more.
They also really seemed to enjoy the April Fool's one that Edinburgh had put out.
At Harding we had to change our plans a little bit. We had more kids than usual because some teachers went home sick. Our class size doubled. We had planned a day for editing of the movie but decided to take more video footage to add to the existing movies.
My group, the boys, ended up having 2 movies instead of 1 because there were 2 separate ideas that were being expressed. One was action/adventure, the other involved dance and Michael Jackson. So here's week 6.
I swear we are almost done. Almost.
Week 7 went pretty well. At Wilson we revisited the splash paint idea. It needed another layer because the first was too watery. While painting we explained the community also has many layers but they work together to create the community. We ended earlier than planned so we then had the students make invitations for their art show coming up.
Harding week 7 was so fun. We planned a movie premiere. We had popcorn from an actual movie theater bowl, cookies, and pop. We invited the site manager down to watch the movies as well. They loved them, even asked to watch some twice. Miss Natalie even invited us back for Parents' Night. She wants to show the videos there.
Here is week 7.
Are you texting? We are almost done for real.
Nicole, no one is texting.
How do you know? You're just an animation.
Anyway, week 8 we only had Harding due to a professional day at Wilson. I was unfortunately so sick I could not move or talk so Nicole had to handle this day by herself.
I was so nervous. She texted me that morning and I was in a panic. We were just going to make invitations for the art show but it's still nerve-wracking going by yourself. When I got to Harding I actually found out that 2 teachers called off and that I was going to have 12 kids, and our co-op Natalie was not going to be in either. I panicked a little. But I quickly planned out a discussion about museums and a brainstorming session on what they might like at their art show. The students that were not even in Champs volunteered ideas. They seemed excited about it so I invited them to come as well. In the end we had plenty of posters, invitations, and face painting ideas. Oh, and Ross was there to help me for half the time.
Here's week 8.
Art show. The last week we spent with the students we had our art show.
At each school we had face painting and set up stations where they could recreate their activities with those who came to the art show. They seemed to enjoy this.
We had so much fun this year and I'm sad it's over.
Me too. I really enjoyed working with our kids, and they had so many nice things to say about us when we left I almost got choked up.
Thanks for taking the time to watch our video. You can ask for autographs later.
Signing off, M and N.